Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aulia Maurida. I'm from Classroom Action Research class. So in this presentation, I would like to present my Classroom Action Research proposal. So my proposal is under the title, The Use of Genre-Based Strategy in Descriptive Text to Improve Students' Speaking Ability on 10th grade at SMK Negeri 1 Pelaihari. So in this presentation, I will discuss or explain three chapters. The first one is introduction, and then literature review, and then the last is research method. So we jump to the first chapter. This one is introduction. Okay, background of the study. Speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and nonverbal symbol in a variety of contexts. And then speaking is a crucial part of a foreign language learning and teaching. However, in the social interacting, many students have difficulties in speaking. Many people think that speaking in a new language is harder than reading, speaking, or writing. There are two reasons why speaking is more harder. The first one is, unlike reading and writing, speaking happens in a real time. Usually, the person you are talking to is waiting for you to speak right. And then the second, when you speak, you cannot edit or revise what you wish to say, as you can if you are writing. Speaking is the productive or oral skill. It consists of producing systematic verbal utterances to convey the meaning. Students' speaking skill is capacity, fitness or tendency to act or be acted on specific way or competent in doing to express the idea and feeling. So speaking is the process of building and sharing meaning through the use of verbal and non-verbal symbols in a varied context. There are many strategies can be applied in teaching English speaking. One of them is genre-based strategy. This combination of the process approach and genre-based approach. Gao 2007 states that genre-based strategy shows a powerful response to the deficit of process model. Teaching and learning around text genre has become increasingly influential in mainstream English as a foreign language in a number of situations, including primary, secondary, tertiary, professional, and community teaching contexts involving native speakers of English as well as ESL and EFL learners. Starting from student problem in speaking through this study, the researcher used genre-based strategy as approaches in teaching speaking. Consequently, it is important to carry out the research under the title of The Use of Genre-Based Strategy in Descriptive Text to Improve Students' Speaking Ability on 10th grade at SMK Negeri 1 Pelaihari. So that's all the background of this study. And then next one is the problem of the study. So based on the background that I have explained, the researcher identified the problem of the research as follows. The first one is students have difficulties in speaking skill. And then the student ability in speaking is not good or like is not really well. And then the last is teaching technique used by the teacher is always monotonous. And then the next, the formulation of the problem. So based on the identification of the problem above that I have explained, the researcher questions are formulated as follows. The first one, how is the student's achievement in speaking skill taught by applying the genre-based strategy? And then, is there any significant effect of the student achievement in speaking skill by applying genre-based strategy? So the next is the objective of the study. The objective of this research or the study stated as to find out the student achievement in speaking skill taught by applying the genre-based strategy, And then to find out if there a significant effect of the student achievement in speaking skill by applying gender-based strategy. And then the last is the significance of the study. So the result of this study are expected to provide usable information. The first is for student will give an input to the student so they can improve their speaking ability. And then the second for English teacher, it gives the alternative solution in teaching speaking skill. And then the third for the institution, especially for the school SMK Negeri Pelaihari, it can be beneficial regarding to improve the education quality. So I think that's all for the chapter 1 for the introduction. And then the next is about the literature review. So the researcher or the writer put 5 literature review in the research. The first one is speaking, and then the importance of the speaking, and then descriptive text, and then genre-based strategy, and the last is types of genre. All right, back to the first. The first one is speaking. Speaking skill is the ability to express opinion or thoughts and feeling to a person or group verbally, whether face or by distance. Alternatively, speech is a natural means of communication between members of the public to express their thoughts and as a form of social behavior. And then Richard in Note 9 provides characteristic of communicative competence including knowledge of grammar and vocabulary of the language, and then knowledge of rule of the speaking, knowing how to begin and end conversation, knowing what topics which address from should be used with different person one speak to and in different situation. So there are 3 functions of the speaking. The first one is speaking as interaction, speaking as a performance, and then speaking as transaction. So we can conclude that speaking is an oral communication that is used to express or given information about someone's feeling and ideas. The purpose of using spoken language is to get response from the learners. Thus, the spoken language itself has to be understood by another people. And then the second one is the importance of speaking. In learning English, speaking is very important to support students' ability to use the language. As one of language skills, speaking has given an important contribution to human work. The important speaking can be seen in people's daily activities and business activities. Speaking is an interactive task and it happens under real-time processing constraints. It means that they will be able to use words and phrases fluently without very much conscious thought. And then the next one is descriptive text. Descriptive text reproduce the way of thinking, looking, smelling, tasting, feeling, and sound. It may also evoke moods, happiness, loneliness, or fear. One of the texts that are taught and learned in the level of senior high school is descriptive text, as elaborated in the training upper intermediate for English senior high school teacher. That descriptive is a kind of text which is aimed at describing a particular person, place, or thing. To describe a process in descriptive text, it is important for the writer to know and understand how something happens. That is why a writer should consider the step for completing the process. Describing a process not only how something is done, but why it is done and why and what is needed to complete the process. So the kind of the descriptive text is the first one is describing an event, describing a personality, describing a place, and describing an object. The next one is genre-based strategy. Dere Wienka in Istianah 2011 defined genre as the schematic structure of text which help it to achieve its purpose. Texts differ in terms of their purpose, and different cultures achieve their purpose through language in different ways. Texts also differ according to particular situation in which they are being used. Then the best strategy in teaching speaking is about how to improve the student's speaking skill. Concluded that the genre-based strategy works best when it is joined with the process approach. And the combined process called the process genre-based strategy. Okay, and then types of genre. There are so many types of genre. The first one is spoof, recount, report, analytical exposition, news item, anecdote, narrative, procedure, descriptive, hortatory, explanation, discussion, and review. But from the various kinds of genre in speaking, this research or this study only focuses on descriptive text. So I think that's all the literature review. So the next we will jump to the last chapter. It is about research method. The first one is research design. So the design of this research use classroom action research. So classroom action research is any systematic inquiry conducted by the teacher researcher, principal, school, counselor, or other stakeholder in the teaching or learning environment to gather information about how their particular school operate, how they teach, and how well their students learn. So it means that CORE is aimed to overcome problem in teaching learning process in order to improve educational practice. The setting and the subject of the study. The first one is the study is conducted at SMK Negeri Pelaihari. The school is chosen as the field of the study based on the writer, and then therefore she knows the condition of the school and she can identify the problem faced by student in learning speaking. The writer select the first year of 10 administrasi perpantaran class, which consists of 35 students as the subject of the study. And then, okay, the procedure of the study. The writer used the classroom action research procedure based on Kurt Levin's design. It consists of the cycle in which a cycle contains 4 phases. The first one is planning, acting, observing, reflecting. Next one. Okay, this is the technique of collecting data. The first one is interview, and then field notes, and then questionnaire, and then test. The test is used to measure student speaking ability and to know the effectiveness of genre-based strategy to improve student speaking ability. So it will be it will be pre-test and post-test. Pre-test doing is before the strategy used in the class, and then post-test is used to after the genre-based strategy teach in the class. And then data analysis. Data gathering through field notes and interview is analyzed by presenting the description of the result of field notes and interview. The questionnaire is analyzed in the form of percentage and presented by the description of the result of questionnaire. All right, so I think that's all for me. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.